The institutions are calling, and Pith is the only one with the answer. You either die a hero, or live long enough to see yourself become B2B SaaS.
GM Chop, how are we doing today?
Very well. Quite tired today. It's been a huge day. I spent far too long driving around in the city, looking for things that I didn't want to do. But I'm very, very well. Otherwise, it's Monad airdrop day, airdrop checker day. Let me correct myself. And it's been interesting.
Don't be spreading fake news like this. People are gonna start clicking on links.
Yeah, they will.
I mean, on the marketing side of things, it's again masterful that connected a bunch of stuff, and I'm getting some fancy category tier, whatever people are speculating. Marketing wise, it's pretty well done. People will be talking about it for 2 more weeks now.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I hadn't actually looked at when the actual claim goes live. I guess nobody knows if it's being vested or anything like that yet either, do they?
I think it will be airdropped to wallets at a future date. I think the claim ends on November 3rd.
Okay. And when does it open up?
Yeah,
28th.
So I think there's some weird stuff where the 28th you can still change your claiming wallet, something like that. I mean, but I think it's November 3rd, if I've heard correctly.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting. The team has worked really, really hard at it, and I'm happy to see them finally coming out with TGE and getting things done after an extremely long sprint to the starting line, as I'm sure they would all be saying for mainnet. It's exciting.
Is there a chain? We need to see the chain now.
That's right. What about you, Pepito? How's your week been?
Good. Just back to the headquarters. I was last weekend playing my last amateur golf tournament of the year, closing out the season. It was a good one.
How did you go?
Huh?
How did you go? Results? Tell us the results.
I won.
Oh,
yeah.
You're just burying the lead there. You just we're going to casually let us forget about the fact that you won.
Yeah, you didn't have to out me like that. No, but back in the trenches here. Big week. Yet again. And no, excited to have Ultra from Kalshi on today. And so much entertainment on the timeline, hyperliquid stuff, and so on. It's pretty interesting.
Largest crypto liquidation event ever in our history.
Don't bring back such memories.
No, we won't. There's plenty of other podcasts going over the entrails of what happened, which has been entertaining to see, but it's cool. Everybody seems to
lots of education for myself, and much of it coming from Doug from Ambient, who's really well explained this auto leveraging thing, and I think he was on the chopping block just yesterday, so that might be an interesting one to watch.
He was.
And
I watched
Thread Guy.
The Thread Guy. That's the one I watched. I watched the Thread Guy one yesterday afternoon, which was good, entertaining. He's coming along. His Thread Guy's content is low key really good. I've been really enjoying it lately.
Yeah. But today I have Ultra in backstage. But maybe we pivot from perps to prediction markets to not lose too much on perps. But here we go. Ultra, thanks for joining us today, sir.
Hey guys, nice to meet you. How's it going?
Going very well. So thanks for joining us. Lovely to have you here.
Yeah.
Where are you joining us
Uh,
from?
I'm currently in Southeast Asia, but yeah, traveling
Ah,
around. Most of
beautiful.
the Kalshi team is over in New York City. Great office. Yeah.
Were you there for Token 2049 and just decided to?
Sadly, no, missed out, but I've heard
Okay.
it was great. You guys were there, right?
Yeah, we were there. Oh, I was there. Pepito was not. But yeah, it was
Uh,
fantastic and a great time.
They lock me in here.
Maybe to kick us off, Ultra, could you give us a bit of an introduction to yourself and how you found yourself in this crazy wild crypto space, and then tell us a little bit about Kalshi.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so joined the space, I guess, around 5 years ago or so. Had some scholarship left to my name. I bought a desktop computer, started mining ETH, and that was my first ETH on chain. And then I run it up with the NFT season and botting and so on. Yeah, contributed over at a few DAOs over time with Jones and a few other projects. You might have seen me mostly post and become public in the last year with Laudio and other experiments on the timeline. But yeah, I found myself joining Kalshi a month ago. My first real job out here. But it's been great. There's a lot of very hardworking people over at Kalshi, and I think it's going to be one of the most valuable companies in finance, I think, over the next few years.
I didn't know you were involved with Loud.io either. Loud, that's another really interesting project in the space.
Yeah, it was
How did you?
just me. Yeah.
It was just you.
Yeah.
Ah, cool. Are you still doing Loud.io stuff?
That was acquired by another company last month. But yeah, it was just mostly an experiment. Again, it was exploring the viral loop between attention and how attention drives price action, and trying to create a loop in there.
Okay, awesome. And how did you get into Kalshi? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I was actually in the Mega ETH accelerator called Mega Mafia, and I was actually working on my own prediction market platform, which is called Hunch. It's still going with my co-founders, but I was just looking around at competitors, messaging different people, and I wanted to know what are the giants doing in the space? Are they becoming more of liquidity layers, or what's the deal? And so yeah, also chatted with John, that recently became head of crypto over at Kalshi, and he completely Kalshi filled me. I think in the space we often see Kalshi under a bit of a bad light, or the leading narrative on CT is that Kalshi came after, and it started joining crypto while not being extremely aligned. And I think that a lot of it is misinformation, actually. So actually hearing it from the founders of Kalshi and so on, I think it's extremely aligned, and also joined Kalshi because it can make an actual difference in bringing Kalshi on chain and move forward the on chain strategy.
Yeah, cool. How would you? I'm curious. Sorry. Oh yeah, go ahead, Pepito.
Curious to know on this. Not crypto line. I suppose is around being I guess now a license. I'm not sure of all the legal terms, but licensed in the US, the trading corporation whatsoever. But now it feels like it's a sexy asset to have, right?
Yeah. I mean, it basically in the past few months, or 6 months, I would say, prediction markets became from just being an app, right, a standalone product, which was a little bit unsexy, to now being seen as an actual infrastructural play that will make a difference, not only in consumer markets and crypto, but we're starting to see, especially a Kalshi adoption from trading desks and actually, finance and integration with the Bloomberg terminal. And so it's like a lot of players are paying attention to prediction markets as a way to stay informed on all sorts of things, right?
Yeah, they seem to be one of the few products, if not the only product. I had lunch with two friends today who I hadn't seen in a very long time, who have no idea about crypto whatsoever. They've heard about Bitcoin, they might have heard about Ethereum in passing, but they were both very much aware of Polymarket, and I found that was really interesting to me, that they didn't actually even know that it was a crypto based product. So there's obviously something has happened in the past 6 to 12 months where prediction markets have really broken out into the mainstream. And I think I actually would love to know why you think how you think that's managed to happen, because that's obviously the holy grail for crypto projects, really.
Yeah, I think overall the whole presidential run last December and so on was kind of peak attention for prediction markets for the first time. A lot of prediction markets decided to not touch politics because they thought it was dangerous, regulated, and so on. Kalshi was one of the ones that said, no, actually, let's try it out. And actually, Kalshi won a lawsuit to pursue these kind of markets, and that had extremely good both consumer penetration, but we saw like actual trading desks and like people in finance talking about Kalshi and using those odds to predict better than Pulse what actually was going to happen in each of the states. So the precision was much higher by looking at prediction markets. So that was a very good starting point for consumers to start seeing prediction markets. And then in the last few months, I think sports overall and the overall strategy that Kalshi took with advertising itself, stunts and so on across different kind of social media worked very well. Yeah. I think and just in the last since August, we're basically up 3x, like overall Kalshi 3x in terms of revenue volume and so on, which is quite insane. Yeah,
that is. I'm curious to know, Ultra, whether or not you have any thoughts as to why, in politics in particular, prediction markets seem to be more accurate in predicting results than polling has been, because obviously polling has been terrible at predicting anything for the past decade or so, but prediction markets seem to be more or less bang on every time, especially over the past couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all know that polling is generally like a tool for trying to turn narratives around during election times. So polls generally are very skewed and not reliable overall, right? There's no neutral parties polling actually, and prediction markets kind of allow like having a monetary stake in what's the truth. So that's how you converge to the actual correct odds overall, which makes a lot of sense, right? Not just politics, but anything can be a prediction market. It's like a new way to decentralize polling with the most correct results possible because there's a financial stake there, right? There were some people that even created some demos of weather maps where the weather across the globe was like predicted with monetary stake, and so everybody has an incentive in being the most precise possible and giving you the correct weather prediction, right? So
that's interesting. How did that work? Was there results out of that? Was it very accurate?
I think it was just a small experimental thing. Kalshi has weather markets, but not such a large scale.
Okay. Yeah. That's really cool.
No, and now I feel, I mean, you guys are, huge raise. I think it was last week announced. So this is, insanely bullish, and I guess the overall prediction market platforms are doing very well, and I keep seeing them on my timeline. And I guess the PIF Kalshi announcement doubled down the amount of prediction market stuff I was seeing on my personal timeline. So now, tell me if I'm wrong, but we're moving, or you guys are moving from being a very consumer app to really trying to be more of a infrastructure layer for builders to use those Kalshi odds that you guys have through oracles like Pith. You announced Stork yesterday as well. So what's the vision for a bit for this? Becoming more of a, I guess, a primitive, a financial primitive, a layer to enable more builders to build upon what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I think we believe that essentially prediction markets should be anywhere and everywhere. We want to see really basically a gold run in or gold rush, sorry, in prediction market tooling and seeing them everywhere. So we also created a builders program a couple of weeks ago, on which we received like over 300 applications, and that's been extremely cool. But essentially, Kalshi up until last week was just a US only app. Now we open up to another 140 countries. It was just read only API for the other, to actually interact. Yes, you needed your own API key, but it was hard to actually build infrastructure around Kalshi. My role here also on the crypto team is making sure that Kalshi is seen more as a liquidity layer and a neutral liquidity layer for anybody that wants to do prediction market stuff. I think now with the Pith partnership and other oracles coming on, we're going to see much more exotic kind of DeFi spin around Kalshi. We have more announcements later in the week, but something that we can already allow thanks to oracles is for perps on top of prediction markets, right? There's a lot that can be done, and even just after the first announcement of oracles, we saw a new influx of builders applying for the program. So I think we're going to see a much bigger DeFi environment spin up around prediction markets in the next couple of months.
And that was pretty cool because we saw on our end, our Telegram chats with a few builders where they're like, "Oh, shit, we just saw your Kalshi announcement. That's interesting. How can we get these markets on and those markets on?" So the interest is there. Very close, and just minutes after the announcement, we had some chats booming, saying, "Guys, this is cool. Let us see what we can cook here."
Exactly.
Would you mind explaining a little bit more what you mean by Kalshi being used as a liquidity layer, Ultra?
Yeah, I think in order to fully appreciate what this means, you're going to have to wait one more week before we unveil the next step of the on-chain path. But essentially, Kalshi should be accessible anywhere and in a much more streamlined crypto way. That's what I can say.
And so more on the use cases, is the perpetual prediction market stuff with leverage, or is that the use case you're most excited about, or are there a couple others you can maybe introduce us to?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty excited about that, and it's something that a lot of people are paying attention to. I think we also saw with HIP3 and HIP4 on Hyperliquid, trying to create tooling for these kind of prediction market perps to exist. So that's extremely cool. And then solving for leverage on chain. One could argue that, there's two ways to play prediction markets, right? One is actually trading the pricing as it changes, and one is actually taking a position and then waiting until expiration. For the people that just buy and wait, it can become a little bit capital inefficient. On Kalshi, we offer the risk-free rate basically on your account balance. So you still make your 4% per year, but collateralization will be a very big unlock, and it will be led by DeFi. So collateralization and leverage for collateralization, that's going to be very exciting. And then I think overall, this being a very new kind of market, we're going to see things that we cannot even think about at this point come up.
Does leverage for collateralization mean you're going to be able to offer leveraged prediction markets as well, or am I misunderstanding?
Yes, I guess not necessarily through Kalshi, but there's a few ways to build leverage, right? There's parlays, which have been the most traditional way to build leverage on top of prediction markets, and that's something that we started offering last week as well on selected sports markets. So we are starting to offer leverage in a sense, but more so once you unlock the power of DeFi, you can start to think of positions being used for collateral on platforms and then borrowing on top of it, and you can loop it, or there's different ways to solve for the capital efficiency of prediction markets.
That's really cool. But sports betting in Australia, I don't know about anywhere else, but sports betting in Australia is unbelievably big. I think we are the biggest gamblers in the world per capita, and we lose the most money in the world per capita on sports betting. And I know, like, from a social gambling perspective, I have a lot of I don't personally do it. I spend all of my money on shitcoins instead of sports betting, but like, it's a really, really social activity that people do, putting parlays on games and then going to watch it and doing that kind of thing. Do you guys think about the sort of community and social aspect of that very much at the moment, or are you more focused on just building out the infrastructure and making it all really solid and workable at the moment?
Yeah, I think we're working on many different things at the same time. On the one side, we have to think about traditional consumers, and so I think the social aspect of prediction markets has not been cracked yet. There's a lot to do on that side. On the other side, we are working with TradFi funds that actually want to use this as a piece of infrastructure, and also the informational side, so entering news outlets and so on. I think it's a very much developing kind of industry, and there's so many things to do. And also, I think overall we're going to see more retail focused front ends being spun up in the next few months, where not all of the distribution should be handled necessarily by Kalshi or the big platforms, but more so, if you want to focus on a specific customer base, you can spin up a front end and then use Kalshi as a liquidity layer underneath, right? These kind of things, I think, will come out a lot.
That kind of leads me to my next question, and around the sort of the derivatives that can be built on top of prediction markets, and what Kalshi is doing in order to enable that, and if there are any particular derivatives that you're looking at or are excited about seeing or thinking that might be possible on top of Kalshi.
Yeah, I think we touched a little bit on this. I think after next week's announcement, there's going to be a very huge unlock coming in terms of utility overall for Kalshi as a liquidity layer. Perps, I think there's a lot of research that needs to be done there, and different kind of models needs to be explored. So many derivatives there. What else? Different kind of aggregators with parlays. That's something that is being explored as well. Yeah, overall, like it's been very, very cool to see all the applications on the builders program and just go through each of them and talking with the builders. There's a lot of brains right now working on solving things.
Yeah. How does your resolution process work for things like crypto assets? And then I've got a follow-up question on like the sports betting side of things and the resolutions on not necessarily sports betting, but some things that are not as clear.
Yeah, on resolution on our side, the way it works is that every contract that exists on Kalshi has a contract that was submitted to the CFTC for approval like behind it, and it basically lists all of the sources that are going to be used for settlement, right? We're going to look at all these 5 different sources to see what is the correct answer to settle this
Mhm.
market. And then we have essentially a certified team that handles resolution. So it's a much more accurate and centralized in a way approach, but that's what a regulated exchange has to do, right? Compared to other solutions that are much more decentralized in terms of resolution, where monetary stakes decides what is the truth, but that often leads to as we saw on the timeline many times, weird outcomes and issues.
The
So
Zelensky suit.
Exactly.
yeah. Those things are very. What's your process for those sorts of things? I would imagine that has to go through lawyers and all types of quality assurance resolution. I can't imagine that's an easy process for you guys to go through.
Yeah. I was not at Kalshi while that happened, so I'm not sure how it went down exactly within the team, but I think they handled it quite well, and we didn't see any kind of issue on our side. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. That's good.
And to touch upon maybe I guess you've announced the Kalshi ecosystem, program, where I believe you guys are, for now focused on Base and Solana on blockchains. How can people get involved in, I think you have grants, you even, help creators. Can you walk us through a bit, the program, and how can people who want to play around some Kalshi feeds on PIF with PIF can get in on the fun?
Yeah, absolutely. So to start, you should go to kalshi.com/builders. There's an application form, very quick. If you have any idea or something you're building, we're happy to talk. Essentially, what we offer is grants co-sponsored by Base and Solana, in case you build on those specific chains. We offer ecosystem support, all the visibility, putting your product under the eyes of all our top traders. Engineering support. We're connecting you with all the partners such as PIF on the Oracle side, and overall, just making sure that your product is a success and we grow together in this industry.
Simple. Kalshi.com/builders.
Exactly.
Easy. Is that only applying for builders on Base and Solana at the moment? Are you guys planning to expand that elsewhere, or sticking with those
You
two?
can.
For the time
No matter
being?
where you're building, you can apply. It's more so the grant is going to be matched by Solana or Base in case you go on those specific chains. Yeah. Well, I think the co-sponsors cohort is going to be expanding quite soon as well. But yeah.
Cool. So that's open to anybody who's looking to build derivative products on top of Kalshi, and will be a lot clearer and easier to understand at the end of this week.
Yeah.
Exactly. At the start of next. Yeah, awesome. Are you guys is Kalshi fully on chain? Forgive my ignorance. Are you guys building on a particular chain at the moment, or is it off chain? How does the underlying architecture work?
Yeah, Kalshi is actually completely off chain from this point of view. The only on chain thing about it is crypto deposits, and that has been the case up until maybe next week. Let's see. But I think it's essentially Kalshi started in 2018 and decided to take the regulator approach since the beginning. So they spent the first 3 years essentially figuring out how to do a completely regulated exchange, with approval from every single party in the US. And then they launched in 2021. So ever since then, it has been a Web2 regulated platform. With standards and when it comes to KYC and all that. But essentially, we obviously want to scale up. Last week, we opened up to another 140 countries. I think a lot of the future will be on chain, and that's why we're connecting with different partners. Yeah.
What's that process? Oh, sorry. Yeah, go for it.
How do you think of I guess becoming the liquidity layer of prediction markets, with, I guess, on-chain apps possibly competing with Kalshi in a sense, where I'm building using your liquidity layer. I mean, the liquidity layer, the odds that I have available too. How does this, add on to what you guys are, or the value of Kalshi?
You mean essentially builders using our Oracle feeds
In
for their own?
Yeah, or the, I guess, the liquidity layer that may come, or that they plug into as builders.
Yeah. Again, next week, much more of it will make sense. But essentially, we want to grow together with this front ends kind of working with us. Kalshi should be a liquidity layer, and then be multi-purpose. What else can I say? I'm trying really hard not to spoil anything, but
At least we're asking trick questions.
Yeah, that's a good way. We're slowly getting to the digging deeper. That's good. How you guys essentially have started as a Web2 company then, right? And you're making the transition over to Web3 in a sense. Would I be right to say that?
yeah, I think it's kind of debated what has happened in the beginning, because I think the initial idea was for them to build on chain, and then the moment they decided to go the regulated approach, they had to change to being completely Web2. So it started Web3, then you switched back to Web2, and now we're back where we started, right?
Right. Yeah. Is that? It sounds like that was mainly due to regulatory and legal constraints.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
So
correct.
has it been difficult to expand into other countries for that reason as well?
I think like I don't know how to answer as well. I think it's been something that we only tackled last week, because it's not that easy. There's a lot of different regulations across different countries. So we decided to go for an open approach where it's up to the user kind of to we basically have a list of countries that are allowed to sign up for Kalshi, and then it's up to the trader to decide if it's something that is comfortable with in terms of risk in a specific country.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. It would be in terms of markets. How are you guys going about listing markets? So if for example I was to say Ultra, I would love to see a prediction market on the Ashes cricket, which is starting in a month's time. What is the process to getting a market up if it's not already on Kalshi? And is there a way for community and or just general consumers to request markets be made on Kalshi? And if there's not, how do you guys go about sort of deliberating whether or not a market is worth listing and worth going ahead with on Kalshi?
Mm-hmm. So in terms of deciding what is worth listing and not, we have to see some sort of interest in that specific idea, and also making sure that the outcome is not that gameable. So for example, it would be great to have prediction markets on Twitter Spaces and even this live stream. But obviously, because of the size, it would be quite easy for someone to spam in the chat, say this, say that. And so we're trying to avoid this kind of very manipulatable outcome markets. So the size is quite important as well. And then on the overall process for the community, we have essentially kalshi.com/ideas, where people can just make posts on what they think should exist on Kalshi, or their trade setups and stuff. So that's been open for years, I believe. And then as we scale up as an ecosystem together with partners and so on, we also set up special chats to accommodate specific needs of partners. So if you're entering the builders program, that's something we can also do, spin up specific markets for your needs.
Yeah. Okay. What's that? I imagine it's a pretty stringent vetting process. Like if somebody wants to spin up a certain market, there's a lot of different hoops to jump through.
Yeah, it's quite manual. Essentially, we have to draft a contract, submit it for approval. Find all the sources that, and we should have generally more than one source for resolution. So drafting all of that into a document, submitting it to the CFTC, and then there's a turnaround time because there's actually people involved in the decision making and so on. So not extremely fast. I think we've gotten the time down a lot, but it's this is what a regulated exchange looks like.
Yeah. So sorry, perhaps I misunderstood. Do you have to submit every single market on Kalshi to the CFTC in order for it to go ahead?
Essentially, yes.
Wow. Okay. That's a huge.
There's a bit of a caveat. I mean, there's for recurring markets, that's not something that we necessarily have to. I mean, there's a kind of a different process which is much faster. But yeah, for anything that is new or a little bit more exotic, something that we have not touched before, then yes, we have to absolutely have approval.
Right. So that doesn't necessarily apply to sports betting markets, for example.
I think for new sports that we want to enable or specific new matches and so on. But for example, if it was recurring crypto price markets, then that's completely fine. It's one submission and then that's it.
Right.
What are by theme, I guess, your most popular, or types of markets that attract the most volume? Like, is this election type of stuff? I was seeing you had the Taylor Swift tag that I guess she's pretty popular to bet on.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this topical or seasonal? What kind of where does Kalshi shine in terms of types of markets?
I think sports has been one of the main volume drivers for us in recent times. Mentioned markets are extremely popular as well, both for politics, but also we had a very, very popular market on Taylor Swift's new album and what words would be said in specific songs and which one. And that was really, really cool. We have this guy that is always doing live streams on prediction markets called PM Trader on Twitter. But essentially, he invited over an expert in Taylor Swift, and together with her, he sat down and decided, how to position for the upcoming album. Opened up positions on Kalshi, and then after the release, was streaming, what hit, what not, what didn't hit. The positions value change. Yeah, I think it's extremely entertaining to watch as well.
How well did he do? Do you know? Did he hit many?
I think he did pretty well. Yeah, I think it's very cool to see that sometimes he invites his guests over and uses them actually as counter signals because they cannot see what position is actually opening and stuff because of the bias that people have. So extremely entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Do you guys have any community channels at the moment? Does Kalshi have a Discord or a Telegram or a forum where people can get involved?
Yeah, we have a Discord. I'm guessing it's Discord. That is just Kalshi, but I'm not sure about the invite. It's just on our website. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any? I'm sure you can't really talk about the potential for a Kalshi token or anything, but is there any sort of rewards programs or that kind of thing for people to get involved at this stage?
I don't think I can talk about this. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe next week.
Cool. No, that's for 2 weeks. Chop.
2 weeks.
No, very cool. So elections, Taylor Swift, but that I was pretty surprised. I guess because for sports betting, I would suspect people mostly do sports book and I guess
Yeah, I
maybe
think we've
Kalshi's
seen a lot of like traditional traders of these sports markets switch over to Kalshi because odds are very often much better on prediction markets. Even when a team is sure to win, there is always going to be someone that is buying the moonshot on the other side, which is very interesting to watch as well. So
Right.
odds are generally much better, and then just the thing that is like you can trade the outcome as it's going, right? So you can exit positions if your thesis is invalidated, or switch over side, and that's something that generally is not super possible in traditional sports markets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, it was going to be my follow-up question to that, because in normal sports betting, it's the bookmaker who's setting the odds, whereas it's the people setting the odds in a prediction market. So it's kind of a very new way to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
now we also have parlays, so we're getting a little bit closer to traditional leverage and payouts that some other sports market offer. But yeah, I think it's just a very big unlock, both in terms of information,
Yeah.
and like trading while things happen, right?
What's been you might not know the numbers, but sort of what's been the growth of on the sports betting side? I would imagine bookmakers for sports betting are looking at this very closely, because their community is getting a far better edge on things like on Kalshi than they would be traditionally. So it's kind of a pretty big disruption to the market.
Yeah. I think also seeing the stocks of big players in that market, they've been pretty down since prediction markets picked up in the past few months. So I'm sure they're definitely noticing this as an industry. I'm not entirely sure what's the number on the sports side directly, but yeah, I think a couple of days ago we had our all-time high day in terms of trading volume, which was around $300 million in notional. We crossed last week also 10 billion in all-time volume traded. We're now at 11.4, I believe. Growth has been absolutely exploding for the past 3 months specifically. It's yeah. And also the raise, which was announced last week, was actually closed before all this growth. It was closed in August. So yeah.
Nice. Do you guys have a North Star when it comes to that? Is there something you're aiming for in terms of growth, or where you would like to be at, and perhaps like a mix for certain markets that Kalshi has?
Yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily. I think this can. I think the overall team, especially Tarek and Luana, are extremely ambitious in terms of where they want to take Kashi. It's not just about predicting things, or it's to them it represents a new way to trade, essentially a new way to get exposure to ideas without using stocks as a proxy or whatnot. So it has the potential to essentially become a new part of the traditional finance industry, right? Why trade Google or whatever as a proxy to them doing specific things while you can trade or hedge the idea itself? That's kind of the moat, right?
Interesting. Do you think that's going to remove, perhaps remove is not the right answer, but take away from the appeal of owning stocks for certain traders, when instead they could be betting on prediction markets rather than owning the stock itself?
I think for retail, very much so. I think from traditional finance so far, we've seen them mostly using Kalshi as a hedging tool for positions they have. But essentially, yes, I think that a lot of the future of trading will happen this way, right? Less proxy trading, more idea and thesis trading itself in the purest form.
Yeah. That's fascinating. I guess that kind of is where your experience with Loud.io feeds into prediction markets then in a sense as well, right?
Uh, uh, I guess I
Kind
think
of, yeah.
yeah. The scale is slightly different, but
Yeah, of
yeah,
course. Yeah.
essentially, yeah. I
Yeah.
think there was a good overlap.
That's
Cool.
great. Pepito, I've exhausted all of my big brained questions. The rest are going to be absolute gibber from me.
I don't have any others. I'll just quickly share that I think Pith, we have about 19 Kalshi feeds live. So if some builders are watching, go check it out. There's on the Inside sub, you can filter to see all the Kalshi feeds. Mix of fed cut rates, some sports. We got a few things on there. So go check it out. And no, Ultra, do you have anything? I'll Chop, I know you have one last from the road, but before that, Ultra, do you have anything you want, we haven't covered that you want to touch upon or shill in here before we let you go?
No, I think all of the best things cannot be said. So I'm
Damn.
I'm a little
We
bit
found
sad.
that out.
We'll have to get you on back soon then, I guess.
Yeah, indeed.
Exciting.
Cool.
There's a lot for us to think about that. Ultra, we have one question at the end of every episode that we ask all of our guests, which is if you were starting out in crypto today, looking to get involved and knowing all that you know, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself or to somebody else looking to get involved deeply into crypto?
Starting with no money and connections, I would say that the best thing is finding your edge and having good connections and a good community. That's probably the best way to grow and learn faster. Yeah, that's something advice.
Perfect. I love it. Ultra, that was fantastic. I'm sorry we weren't able to extract any of next week's alpha from you, but I'm very curious to see what you guys have got in store. That's all really exciting actually. I've been educated quite a bit more on prediction markets through this chat, so thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Ultra, thanks for the time.
No problem.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
We didn't max extract on this one.
We did it. We were asking the right questions, so there you go. We just couldn't. He was very tight-lipped. He wouldn't let anything fly. But that's good. We've got something to look forward to.
Yeah, no, it's pretty exciting. I guess I'd suspect some Kalshi on-chain shenanigans happening more and more. So very cool.
That's what
I was actually
like
checking, but
then.
I guess they have some when will monad and stuff like that conduct an airdrop. I'm gonna go check the market. 73% before December 1st.
Only 73%. I
Yeah.
thought that would be higher.
Wait, let me actually share my screen. It's pretty interesting. Pretty cool. Share screen. Share. And then I need to do this. So yeah, before November 1st, 8%. December 1st, 73. Wait, let me see the other. I don't know what I would bet. No, but I mean, it's a pretty cool platform, and gonna be exciting to see how on-chain DeFi builders leverage that.
Yeah, cool. Hey, I'm fascinated by prediction markets. I think it's potentially one of the biggest innovations since perps being invented in crypto. I think it's really exciting, the possibilities, and Ultra did a really good job of articulating all of the possibilities for the future. So I'm really looking forward to see how Kalshi plays out over the next week and next couple of years. I think it's really exciting.
No, because I mean the perps leverage one feels like the most, or I guess the most talked about. But thinking about it, like some risk management tools, like DeFi risk management, where in some way you edge your portfolio because, oh my God, the odds of a Fed cut are plummeting or stuff like that can be super interesting as well. So
Yeah.
I'm not too educated on all that finance jazz and how it's correlated, but it feels like some big brains could think of some smart ways to save me some money by using this information.
I got some friends to recommend over to Kalshi so they can get rid of their terrible sports betting apps and get better odds on Kalshi.
What were the odds of Donald Trump putting tariffs on China on Friday? Maybe I should have followed that number more closely going into the weekend.
Well, what are the odds of him backing down on those tariffs? That's a better one.
Let's go back.
I think he's already kind of backed down on them anyway, hasn't he?
What will the U.S.-China tariff rate on China be on January 1st? People thinking between 30 and 40%.
Okay.
40%. That's the leader.
Yeah, well, that's a back down from what it is at the moment.
17% above 60, so that's still not great.
No. Yeah.
Wait, is that the right one? Yeah, that's the right one. Here you go. No, but I guess you can. I mean, there's tons of markets. Pretty interesting.
Very cool.
All right. Any final news or stuff you want to share as we have the peak attendance finishing off?
What have we got? Kalshi integration is fantastic if you're looking for prediction markets or you're looking to build derivative prediction markets on top of Kalshi. We have a bunch of data covered from them in order for you to do that. And it sounds like they'll have a whole host of other features ready for people willing to do that sometime next week. I imagine, based on what Ultra was saying, it's something to do with going on chain. But I don't know. He was very good at obfuscating that.
Yeah, it's around liquidity, I'd say. As for now, you have feeds, you have data, but you don't have access to the actual Kalshi liquidity. Then we're leaking the stuff that we don't know about. We're just where are the prediction markets to see if we were right today.
Yeah.
We're Pepito and Chop right about the upcoming Kalshi news. No, and I think did we miss anything that you might have missed, Pythians? I don't think so. Lots of excitement around Hyperliquid as we speak.
HIP3 markets powered by Pyth. Huge.
We've got some content coming about this. So if you don't know yet about it much, we'll try to educate you as best as to the best of our abilities.
I'm looking forward to that actually because my focus has been elsewhere outside of Hyperliquid, so I'm very uneducated on that front. I'm looking forward to learning more.
Cool. Well, Chop, thank you for the time. Pythians.
My pleasure, Pepito.
Thanks for joining. I do not have a guest yet for next week. We do not have a guest for next week. But I'm thinking we get an amazing one again for quarter century, 25 episodes today.
Ooh,
almost
that's
half
a
year. Yeah,
nice. Half a year, far out. That's a long time.
Feels like not as many, but
it does not. Yeah, it does not. It's been fun though. I've been enjoying it, Pepito. Yeah. It's been great.
Well, sir, have a good evening.
See you all next week.
Down under, and see you all next week. Invite CZ. Yeah, Let's get CZ on.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
Pythians.
See you, everyone.